Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you for coming back here to CPM Zone. As you remember from last week, um, actually, was it? Yeah, actually, it kind of technically was last week on Saturday. I was talking to you about bid bonds and kind of what entailed, and give you a little story there about what happened to us to make sure that doesn't happen to you guys, which is part of what I was saying from before, from the get go, about us becoming a community and not making the same mistakes, learning from each other. So I want to make sure that when it comes to the bid bonds on bid day, that you guys make sure you have your bid bond, it's there's no errors on it, and that it's signed by someone, and to make sure it's actually in your bid package when you leave the office or wherever you may be, that you have your bid bond for when you turn in your bid, whether it's a private bid or a public opening or a public bid with an opening. So today we're going to talk about another type of bond that actually comes after the bid day. So if you do manage to be the lowest apparent bidder or the lowest responsive bidder, whatever they call it, and so they take your bid package and they start going through it. So one of the things is that if everything checks out, you got your bid bond, your price looks good, any other requirements, you meet everything, all the requirements, then they're going to extend the contract out. So if you honor your bid bond and you accept the contract and you sign the contract, more than likely when you send it back after you've signed the contract, you're going to have to include a performance bond and a payment bond. So today I'm kind of talk about a little bit about the performance bond. So the performance bond is just like how it's titled, performance. You need to perform. You need to make sure that you're gonna actually do the project to the plans and the specifications, and make sure that you do all of your work is correct and per code, and so that aren't any issues in the way that it was built. Now, means and methods is something completely different, because you can have the same or different means and methods but get the same result. But as long as you follow the specifications, which sometimes they do have means and methods in there, but it doesn't mean that you specifically have to stick to them. You can, by approval, use a different mean or method if you show that it is literally equal to what they spec'd out. So, but like I said, that's going to be with authorization, usually from the client or the architect, some type of designer. And that needs to be documented, as you should be well aware of by now. That's the thing. Documentation. If you're running a business like a restaurant or a hotel, something like that, they always tell you location. But when we're talking about construction, it's documentation. You need to make sure you document everything, because that is what's going to count if there's any type of litigation that arises from a project. So back to the performance bond. So in essence, the client, pretty much the client, whether it's a private client or a public entity, they can come after your bond should you not be able to finish the job, which is really what the performance bond is for. For any reason, whether you become all of a sudden, for some crazy reason, you're in financial distress and you can't pay the, you can't continue on providing the manpower or the subcontractors for any reason. And so that's the whole thing about performance. So, and they can come after your bond, but it's probably gonna, obviously that means going with litigation. Now, usually the contractor's licensing board would prefer to do arbitration before you have litigation. But if the project is big enough or the disputed amount is big enough, then it might actually end up in civil court or something bigger, which actually not from a performance bond, but there was something completely different where actually my boss, before I knew them and before I started working for them and stuff, they actually ended up going, it was over something completely different, but they ended up going actually to the state legislature here in California, and they actually had a law passed, and they're the ones that actually went and lobbied for it. My boss, he's very big on the legalities of construction. He actually kind of joked that he thought about when he did decide to retire from construction, he would go into construction law. Of course, didn't have the time really for the or the I don't want to say he didn't have the chops for completing the school, but he was very deep on how he felt and actually thought very logically about how the laws should be written, or the things that you really needed to keep in mind when coming up with these laws. And so, he always kind of joked about becoming a construction lawyer once he decided to retire from construction. But back to the performance bond again. So yeah, the performance bond, if you can't perform, they can come after your bond. And same thing, they have a, in the specifications, especially with the public entity, it's all spelled out in black and white. There usually isn't any type of gray area. But it's very straightforward. Now, as a general contractor, depending on the size of the project, or if you have a new contractor, a subcontractor coming in and stuff like that, you can do something called bonding back, where you provide the performance bond to the entity, but then the subcontractor actually has to provide their own performance or payment bonds to you as the general contractor. So in essence, if for any reason they can't perform, then you as a general contractor can actually hire someone else to finish the job, because unless it's a long-term project and there's plenty of time to find another subcontractor that can either match or beat their price to bring them in, then you would go after the bond so that you got that money, or not even the money back. If they can't perform, then you can be reimbursed for the time for the labor, the monies that it took you to put that back out to bid, or not back out to bid, but for you to solicit new pricing from other subcontractors. And if the lowest pricing is more than the value of what's left of the subcontractors, the existing subcontractor that couldn't perform, then you would get that monies from their bond. In essence, it's almost like it's a type of bid bond where you, as the client, you're reimbursed for what it costs you to put that back out to bid. So as a general contractor, you can get the monies back from when, from you having to solicit a new subcontractor to come back and finish the job. And of course, nobody likes doing that. Even as a general contractor, we never wanted to ever do anything like that, because it's just more time and money that is spent that could be directed towards the project and getting the project done. So we always kind of take a look at the bigger picture. I mean, they do say that the devil is in the details, and that was my job as a project engineer and estimator, going through the plans, making sure everything was covered. But in cases like this, you really, like I said, depending on the size of the project, you could have all subs bond back to you, or even just the ones with a certain dollar limit, or that their portion of the work, constitutes a majority or a large stake in the project. So the major ones, as you would probably imagine, or are the big ones: the mechanical, the electrical, the plumbing, the MEP. Those are the big contractors on most projects. And depending on if it's a remodel, if it's a TI, if it's ground up, I mean, you could have the fire sprinkler, and that's right, the fire protection guy could be a big portion. Could be the concrete guy, depending on the type of building, and because a concrete's going to be a big one on a tilt-up building, and that's usually a private entity doing that, private owner. I haven't really seen too many public works projects putting up warehouses and things like that, where you have tilt-up buildings. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not out there, because I'm sure there are public entities putting up warehouses to house certain things and whatnot. But the concrete guy could be a major player in your project. I don't know. It depends on your project. So that is one of the things you can do for bonding back, performance and payment bonds. And if you take a look, I don't know if you want to go on my page, you can take a look on my live, when I'm going to go live next, which is Saturday, and you can look. I'm going to go ahead and talk about payment bonds. And I do have a story about that I wasn't directly involved in, but it was probably two. Well, that's right. Yeah. The major one that I was told about happened, and it was a project that they were doing at a local college. And technically that was it? Yes. That was a private entity, and it wasn't a state school. It wasn't a government school. But anyways, so that one, and I'll let you guys know, that one was actually that one was both of them, performance and payment bond. But anyway, so Saturday I'll tell you another story concerning payment bonds. So today, talking about performance bonds. So the story goes like this, and this was more towards, a little more towards the end of my time with this general contractor, the one that I did the most work for. This one we had, it was at the medical facility that we did a lot of work at, and we had a project where we were doing a remodel of the emergency department, and it was a major thing. So they had to move the entire emergency department to the other side of the building. So the facility took care of all that, and they let us have the space. So we went in, tore it out. So this is going to concern our millwork contractor. So if you know, a lot of the millwork, there were some counters that, with no millwork underneath. So the counters needed to have supports that came out of the wall. The L brackets that come out of the wall. And because it's a medical facility, and this is an OSHPOD building, mind you, I believe it's an OSHPOD level 1 building. Yeah, because it was in the main. It wasn't the main hospital because they had just built a new main hospital. But anyways, in this part, which was the emergency department, they had to put up the L brackets. So we were in the framing stage. Obviously, they came in and they brought the L brackets. But if you know, in OSHPOD, this is type. That's right. OSHPOD 1 type 5 building. You cannot have combustible materials. They all must be a fire retardant material or fire resistant materials. So these guys came in and they brought their L brackets, which were metal brackets, but then in the metal framing, because there's because they're all C studs, in the crevice that's inside of the C studs, they drilled out the C stud and they bolted pieces of wood onto the studs. And I don't know what was going on with our superintendent that he didn't say anything. And I know when this happened. I don't know exactly when this happened, because as I was leaving that job site to go to another job site, I saw their truck pull in. So, okay, yeah, cool. They're here like they say they were going to be. So I left. And I left. The superintendent was standing right there because I was just talking to him. And I said, bye, I'll see you later. I'll be back today, in a little while, probably like an hour or two. I got to go check on the other jobs. So I went on my merry way. And so then when I came back, the guys were having lunch. And I go, hey, what's going on, guys? So sat down, kind of, talked to them and stuff. Because, when they take lunch and stuff, I'll go, hey, what's up? I kind of talk to them about what's going on, I did that. I like to shoot the breeze with the guys, really kind of be a part with them so that, even as at that time I was assistant PM, so that they know that, I know what they're going through. I can see, what the heck was that? But anyways, so I do, talk to them a lot and stuff like that. So they're telling me, did you see what the cabinet guys did? And I was like, well, I mean, I saw they came. They said they were going to come and install, the different stuff in here. And I was like, yeah, but what do you mean? They were supposed to come and put brackets in. Did they not put the brackets in there? And they said, no, yeah, they installed the metal brackets, but did you see how they installed them? And I was like, well, obviously not, because I haven't been here. So, wait, hold on, guys. Sorry, guys. Hang on a second. Something I gotta take care of real quick there. All right. So, anyways, where was I? Oh, yeah. So they don't say anything. They just said, you need to go inside and look. I walk inside. And mind you, the superintendent isn't there. He took lunch, so he left because we're at the medical facility. He went to the cafeteria to get some lunch. All right, no big deal. So I walk in and I look around and go, what the fuck is this? So they put literally pieces of wood in that crevice of the seat bolted through, like I was saying, in the brackets. And I go, they can't do this. Why not? Even if they drilled the holes in the stud and if they bolted without putting the wood in them, that would be completely fine. But the way that they had them manufactured is because, when you have the L bracket and you cut it, it ends up with the square cut. And you can't have that, especially in public areas or on projects where you're going to have people that are owned by the public entity, right? Yes. But anyways, so the point is you can't have a square cut underneath the counter because if they shove their hand or their knee somehow, they can obviously gouge themselves pretty bad. So you have to cut it at an angle. Well, these guys, and mind you, as a structural steel subcontractor, I did do some of this work where for a friend of mine who worked at a millwork company and who's actually tied to this project. When he orders from me, he tells me to 45 or even 60-degree cut the ends, which is no problem, gladly, because I know exactly why they're doing it, obviously. So these guys only had one side cut, which means they can only be installed in one direction. You can't flip them around. Like if you cut both ends, it doesn't matter if it goes on the left or the right of a stud, depending on which way the stud is facing. It didn't matter because you had both sides cut. But these guys had only cut the one side, so it can only be installed in one direction. So that direction just happened to be the face of the stud just happened to be on the wrong side. So they went ahead and put a wood filler in it. And I told them, well, shit, they can't do that. Well, we know they can't do that. And I go, okay, where's let's just call the guy Mike. It's not his name. Let's just call him Mike. I go, where the hell is Mike? Like, oh, he went to lunch. He went to the cafeteria. He was standing right there when they showed up. Did he not watch them? And they're like, well, we were busy, working, but we saw when they were installing them, didn't look like he cared very much. All right, man, I'll take care of this. Okay. So I kind of hung out, I went to grab my lunch real quick because it was just, I didn't eat very much during actual lunchtime. So it was just a quick snack more than anything. So I come back and here he comes, back and everything. All right, guys, everybody, let's go. You guys know what to do. Let's finish out the day, blah, blah, blah. Okay, boom. They all get to work and I walk over and go, hey, Mike, I got to talk to you. Like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, the millwork guys were here, when I left, and now when I came back that they're gone, I see that they installed the brackets for the countertops. Oh yeah. I go, well, can you tell me what's wrong? He looks at it and goes, well, is it the right? It should be at the right height. I checked the height. And I go, well, yeah, I'm not questioning the height. Oh, are they on the wrong side of the stud? I bet they're on the wrong side of the stud, aren't they? I go, well, in this case, it doesn't really matter because the countertop is, the countertop, and we actually accounted for that, and we installed the studs, so that they were evenly distributed, so that they could have, when they put the countertop up, it would be evenly distributed amongst the brackets. So that wasn't the case. It didn't matter. They were all where they needed to be, and actually they were facing the right way. And he goes, well, I don't know what's wrong. And I go, did you not see that they used wood spacers? This is a type 1 or the type 5 OSHPD 1 construction. You can't have flammable anything in the walls. It's covered up. Hell, you can't even have anything really, you can't have anything exposed that's part of the building structure, the building. So why did you let them put the wood, because why did you let them use the wood to install this bracket? It's not per code. You know that. You're the one that's touting about how you know about OSHPD and you keep the OSHPD manual with you and this and that. But yeah, you let them put that wood piece of pretty much that wood backer in for them to install their brackets. You should have told them, no, you need to make sure that they're installed how they need to be per the plans and the specifications. And he said, oh, well, I thought they knew that. I thought they was going to be allowed here because why would they come and install something? I don't know. Okay, but you next time you need to, this is why you need to make sure that you're familiar with everything. It tells you on the plans. It says it on the general notes, dude. Why are you letting them do this? I don't know. And they go, well, then call them and get them to come out here and change this because this isn't right. And they actually should know this because, like I said, it's in the plans and specs. They bid it. They knew what to expect and they knew what they're not supposed to be doing. So give them a call, get them back out here. All right. So he calls them and they said some bullshit about not being able to get out there until like 2 weeks. And they go, no. In 2 weeks, this thing is going to be all buttoned up and we're going to have to tear into the drywall. They need to get out here within the next 2 days because these guys are going to finish framing and that drywall is going to go up very, very fast. And we're going to start finishing it within the next 2 weeks. So they need to get out here. Okay. He calls them up. No dice. They can't. They're slammed. And they go, I don't give a shit if they're slammed or if they're behind schedule. They need to get out here because they're going to push us behind schedule. And that's not cool because then we're going to have to find out a way, figure out something in order to do it. And if we have to do it ourselves, which I can myself make those and make them fit right here. And I'm going to have to charge them extra premium for it. I'm going to back charge them for it. So you need to make sure that you tell them that. And he was pretty much done with the situation. And I go, okay, so this is obviously not working. This is not the first issue we've had with the superintendent. So anyways, all right, fine. I'm going to make the phone call. So I called the guy and they're like, oh, he's not here. I go, what do you mean he's not there? My superintendent just talked to him 5 minutes ago. So you need to put me in contact with him. And if he left, you put me through to his cell phone or give me his cell phone number so I can call him. And now this is the owner we're talking about. And I told them because there's a situation out here with my project. And if he can't get anyone out here to fix it, I'm going to have to fix it myself and back charge him for that amount. So you need to get him on the phone one way or another and have him bring people out to correct it. So sure enough, she says, okay, all right, hold on. Give me a few minutes. And I go, okay, I will expect his call within the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'm calling you back. She said, okay, I'm very sorry. The receptionist had to take the brunt of it. If he wasn't there for any reason, if he left, he probably did it on purpose. So within the 10 minutes, he called me and I thought it was settled. He said, okay, first thing in the morning, I will send someone out tomorrow. I go, okay, first thing in the morning, I need to know what time so that the superintendent is here, to let him in because usually we don't start work until 7. And I know usually the millwork guys start pretty early. So he said, okay, all right, I'll make sure that I have someone there at 7 a.m. And they have a job in the area, and so I'll send them out there first thing, and then they'll go to the job. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So they show up, and they have, lo and behold, how is it that the very next day, they have the correct type of brackets that are cut on both sides so they can put them in on either side. Wow. So just out of your fucking laziness, or someone grabbed the wrong brackets out of the shop and didn't want to go back and get new ones or the correct ones, they fucking came and did this bullshit. Now, of course, my thought is, if it were me, holy shit, how many man hours did I just lose because these dumb fucks couldn't do their job right at the very beginning and in the shop? They were probably sitting next to each other. All you have to do is pick them up, look one side, look at the other, okay, and go. I mean, it's not rocket science, you guys, right? So anyways, they show up. And when they show up, I couldn't believe, I didn't see them the first time they came the day before. But then they show up and these guys, come out of the truck. Most construction companies take pride in their workers. I know we did. And so for you to earn one of our shirts, really, because we didn't just hand them out just because, we handed them out because you are on our team. We want everyone to recognize you and recognize our company so that they know that we've got quality people working for us. So these guys get out, they just jeans and a t-shirt. One guy was in shorts and I told him, you can't come on the job. You have to stay in the truck. I was there to meet them. I made sure I was there so that they know exactly what was expected of them. So the guy shows up in a black t-shirt with white, I don't even know what design is on there. And I'm like, are you guys, and tennis shoes. And I'm like, you guys can't be coming to our job like this. You know, you guys need to be more professional. I mean, I understand the jeans, but you need to be wearing boots. You need to have your, your personal protection equipment, safety glasses, hard hats at the very least, and then, correct apparel with your boots and, a shirt either with no design or a shirt with your company logo on it, something. You guys can't just be coming on like that. Okay, all right. So just real quick while I watch them, they put in the correct countertop braces or brackets, and then they left. I go, all right, we're good. I was like, and I called the guy and I go, hey, you guys just left, and they corrected the issue, so we're happy, we're good to go now. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention that the your guys showed up very unprofessional. They weren't even wearing proper gear. They needed to have some type of boot. Didn't have to be steel toe boots, but they need to be wearing work boots and a better shirt than just a t-shirt. But they needed hard hat and safety glasses around here, because that's the standard, right? The safety, especially for a job for a public works project. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'll make sure they have their stuff next time. Blah blah. Okay. So then, as time went on, because we had to do all that stuff, we had to install flooring. They were putting up a piece of equipment. I think it was mobile X-ray. Yeah. Well, it really wasn't mobile. I mean, they hung from the ceiling. But anyways, so we're getting all the finishes done. Well, here we go. And so we're on another project, and I'm making sure I'm double checking. I keep calling the guy. Hey, I want to make sure that you guys are good. You guys are going to be here. You guys are going to be on time. We sent you the schedule last week so that you guys can be ready. These small countertops, if you guys want to come and put them in first, that's perfectly fine. And then you guys can come and do the rest of the millwork. Mind you, it wasn't that much millwork on this project. Okay, yeah. So then the next week I call them and it's only going to take us a couple of days to get the millwork done. We'll be there with the countertops. But actually, we can get the countertop material here within 2 days, and then we manufacture it and we can be there by the beginning of the week. But we can't afford the countertop material right now. Can you spot us $1,500? And so I was like, this is kind of weird. Why? I talked to my boss and I told him what is going on. So I said, okay. So they went in, and these guys are really good people. So they spotted him the $1,500. And then as the week went, I go, wait. And I turned to my boss. I go, if he didn't have enough money for the countertop material, do we know he even has our material for our millwork? Not just, not just the base material, the particle board and, the MDF, but also the plastic laminate. Because, I mean, it's a semi-standard color, but how do we know that he actually ordered it and it's there? He said, that's a good question. I have no idea. So as the week went on, we kept calling to double check. Yeah. And then last time on the Friday before he's supposed to be there on a Monday. So the Friday before, just to make sure, I call. He says, actually, we're not going to be there. And then I was like, excuse me? You've been telling me that you're going to be ready. What's going on? I don't understand what the issue is. We gave you the money for the countertop material. You said you can work it, and now you're telling me you're not even going to be here? Not even for the countertops? That's even if you come the first day to install countertops and then take a day to finish milling or, assembling the millwork and come on a Wednesday to start installing, you're fine, because then you'll be done by the end of the week. No, we don't have any of the material. I go, what do you mean you don't have any of the material? We gave you the money for the countertop. Well, yeah, I had to use that for something else. Are you fucking kidding me right now? You're like, no, Oscar, I'm really sorry, but we're not going to be able to do any of the job. We're just not. This is very bad news for us. Like, yeah, I didn't, I didn't really mean to do this to you guys, but it's just the stuff that's going on right now. I just can't, do it right now. Like, That's not cool. Give me a second, guys. Hold on, all right? All right, guys. Sorry about that. So, yeah, this guy comes and just tells us that flat out he just can't do the project. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be here on Monday, the next work day. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I don't know what to tell you, Oscar, but I'm like, I just can't do the project. And he literally hangs up on me, and I go, so of course, first thing I do is turn around and tell my boss. And he goes, "Are you? Let me talk to him." So after about a 10-minute conversation, he sets, he comes in. So okay, Oscar, I need you to find someone else that can finish the project. Oh my God, I knew it. All right, okay. So I started making some phone calls, and of course everyone was busy. So we had this very, very short timeline to keep now. Luckily, we were able to do a couple more things, pick up things, trim work here and there. So, and actually they were having issues with the doors. We had to put up new doors. They were the hollow metal door, or no, I'm sorry. They were glazed, the clear, the aluminum doors. But since it's the emergency department, they have to open pretty quickly. So they were trying to adjust the timing, and this and that, and the emergency, the teams that work in the emergency department were practicing running in and out of that place and taking people to operation or to the operating room. They were taking someone just across the hall into a CT room that they had right there that was available for emergencies. And they're like, it's taking too long. I'm like, it's off by a half second. He goes, yeah, well, that half second, I mean the difference between life or death. Like, are you kidding? The doors across the way, he's like, so when we hit the button, it should activate the doors coming out of the emergency department and also activate the doors heading into the CT room. And so then they're like, this was a half a second, too slow opening. And that one is like a whole second too slow opening. And of course, going into the CT room, they're lead shielded freaking doors, dude. I was like, what the hell do you want us to do? The mortars can only work so fast, so hard, unless you want to change them out and cost you, like 5 times as much as what it is now, which they didn't want to do. Then, okay, it's coming out of my budget. So that wasn't going to work. Okay, no big deal. So after, oh gosh, I don't even know, what was it? A couple of days of calling a couple of different, and the guys that we've worked with before, even our union millwork contractor. And they were too busy. He couldn't even get anyone out here. And he told them, we'll call the hall. And he's like, even with the hall, you need a couple of days and this and that. I go, oh my gosh, this is insane. Then I remembered my daughter's in Girl Scouts. And one of the guys there works at a millwork company. So I called him up, said, hey, so here's what happened. We're in a really, really tight bind. So I need to see if there's any way that you can help us out and get these cabinets to us ASAP, or actually this millwork to us ASAP. And so he said, we told him it's okay. We know it's rush. We need you to fit us into, pretty much put us ahead of everyone. We'll pay you extra for it. Because we were going to back charge the sub anyways, the millwork sub that we had previously contracted. And so, of course, because it's a public entity, it's public works project. So then we had to submit for the substitution. And so we had to give them this big, long explanation of why we were substituting our sub at this point in the project. So they granted that change. Luckily, we figured it was going to be done. Otherwise, they wouldn't get their project on time. And the emergency department is a vital role, or plays a vital role at the hospital. So he was able to come through, and we were able to actually only be late with our mill work by 2 days, including the countertops. They came out, and he literally the next day after I sent him the authorization, he came out the next day, him and like 3 guys, and they field measured everything that needed to be done. They got us in and everything. Boom, over and done with. And we were like, thank goodness. So we finished the project, but my boss, who was keeping an eye on the project managing it, he decided he needed to make them pay. Well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you, So he took them to arbitration with the contractor's licensing board. And at the licensing board, they did decide, or they did, the judgment was in our favor. But we didn't get the entire monies that we were owed, and getting, the other contractor, my friend, his mill, or the millwork company he worked for, the difference in the pricing, and because of the rush and stuff like that, we didn't get the full amount back, which really sucked. I'm like, even though he literally had no proof that he had the materials, he had ever gotten anything, where we had emails, I logged all the phone calls. Yes, guys, documentation, right? So you need to make sure, especially if you have any type of bad feelings, to document as many things as possible. So we had our emails, I had the call logs, and what was said in the call logs, and everything. So we had a stack of evidence where he had this little tiny file folder with like 2 pieces of paper in it, and yet we didn't get all the money, and it was ruled in our favor. I don't know what the hell was going on, but anyways. So this is why I'm telling you guys, depending on the contractor, if you feel comfortable with them, the subcontractor, as a GC, you can always have them bond back. Now, they might bitch and moan about, but it's going to cost extra money I didn't plan for. Like, guys, if it's only, let's say even if it's a 3% or a half of a percent of what what your project is, if you were a reliable contractor that wasn't sketchy, didn't have a semi-shaky reputation, it wouldn't be a problem. But this is kind of offers protection, guys. Just like the owner or the public entity that is the owner of the project that you're going to be doing, they have that protection in place for them with the bid bond, with the performance bond. Having your subs bond back to you is an insurance for you. So it's just another level of protection for you from not being able, or from someone else not being able to perform on your project. But you get the gist of it. Performance bond, if you can't man the project, if you can't finish the project for any reason, that's when they will come after your performance bond. So this is why it's important to make sure you take a look at, when you're bidding projects, take a look at the manpower, the resources you're going to have available to you, whether it's the labor, whether it's your equipment, your office personnel that are taking care of things, anything and everything, your financial situation. You always need to make sure that you're checking everything. And as a PM, you really should have a pretty good idea of where you guys are with all of these things, so that you and your company don't overextend the resources that are available to you, so that you can cover a bid. You can, you can commit to a project, sign that contract, and get your performance and payment bonds, so that you can do the project. Because the only thing you're going to be missing out on is the profit when you guys complete the job. And hopefully, there's always going to be change orders here and there. But as long as you manage everything right and there aren't any mistakes, you should turn your profit, if not more sometimes. I know, because I've been able to do some time-saving things here and there where we finish a week or 2 weeks early, which means we've saved the money in supervision. We've saved money in labor hours. We get our retention back faster, guys. Okay, especially if you finish right before the end or the close of the month, when their reporting is due, and when your invoicing is supposed to be due. If you get your stuff done before then, you won't have, say another 2 weeks of supervision, another 2 weeks of the guys out there just doing little pickup work and shit like that. It's only for your benefit. It's only for your benefit, guys, and especially us as project managers. We want to be fucking done with the project so we can move on to the next one. And or if we have a full plate, how good does it feel to get that one freaking project done? And yeah, we'll be waiting for the next project that comes along, but in the meantime, now we can, instead of trying to focus on 5, which is hard to really focus on when you have 5 projects, now you've only got 4. So that means you have a little more energy to put into each of the other projects that you have until the next one gets kicked your way. All right, so that's what pretty much my take and my story for performance bonds. So on Saturday, like I said, I'm going to be talking about payment bonds. And I mean, honestly, you get the gist of it. It's named payment bond for a reason, but we'll kind of, take you through a couple other scenarios and things like that and tell you a story. Like I said, I wasn't personally involved in, but I was told, which is another reason why my boss, especially, even though they didn't require them to bond back, we always made sure that we took care of everyone, make sure that everything was fair and that everyone got paid for the work that they did, really. Okay, which can run in a couple of different directions. All right, so let's see. I don't really have any announcements. Nothing really different going on with the channel or anything like that. Saturday's payment bonds. I got to think about what we're going to do for next Wednesday, what I'm going to discuss next Wednesday. But yeah, if you guys, want to hit me up, you'll see right there, right on the screen, you have the, you got my email, you got the Twitter, you can hit me up right there. If you guys end up coming on for the chat, and you guys can come on there and, chat it up and I can answer any questions you guys might have. As far as me right now, I'm kind of a little busy working on some stuff. I do some drawing, CAD, Revit. I really love Revit. It's a lot more time saving, and with the BIM, you guys have heard BIM is everywhere now. It really helps with the resolution of things, so clashing between the different trades. Usually what I do here though is just residential permitting stuff, so nothing crazy, although I'm kind of probably stepping away from it for a while. I mean, yes and no, because a lot of times I don't put finishes. I'll put the finishes. I'll ask them, like, in general, what's going to have paint, if there's any tile, any other wall coverings that they might want, anything that's attached to the structures, things like that. And then I just let them say, it's up to you. It's between you and your contractor what colors, as long as the material is there. If you tell me that you're going to have tile in the bathroom or tile on the floor of the bathroom, that's what I'm going to put in the plans, because most cities want to see what the finishes are going to be. Make sure that they are in line with stuff like that. The green board where any, wet areas and all that shit. The usual stuff. So that's going on. But yeah. So I guess until Saturday, guys, when we talk about payment bonds, all right? So while you guys are out there, stay safe. It's actually, I don't know, here in Southern California, we're having a bit of some warm weather and some wind. But hopefully wherever you guys are, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, you guys always stay safe, keep yourself hydrated, especially when it's really, really fucking hot. And if you guys are out and about, even on the job site, make sure you guys, drink plenty of water, take rest breaks, stay in the shade as much as you can, and if you're in the cold, well, fuck, man, good luck with that shit too. Make sure you guys stay bundled up and stay warm and be able to work out there and stuff. And yeah, the usual PPE. And don't forget, you guys, whenever you guys have a project, it's always documentation. I can't say that enough, guys. All right, it'll keep you out of trouble, trust me. Okay, so until then, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and see you guys on Saturday. All right, so until then, stay safe, guys.